Jujutsu Kaisen Mojo Chapter 18 is officially here, so let's get straight into it, because this chapter is absolutely unhinged. Chapter 18 is titled, One Who is Capable, and we pick up right in the middle of the fight between Sudugi and Maru, with Sudugi having just awakened Ra and essentially merged with her. There's no warm-up, no breathing room. We are immediately thrown back into violence. The chapter opens with the narrator clarifying something huge. Uda Kotsu's ring, a cursed tool registered in the Gojo family warehouse, still contains his immense cursed energy, along with the will of Ra Orioto, who remains subordinate to him. In other words, the ring has fully become a cursed tool. That lingering question is now answered. From there, the next few pages are pure chaos. No exposition, just hands being thrown. Maru is levitating massive chunks of rock across the battlefield using his cursed technique, turning the entire area into a floating death zone. Sudugi responds by bouncing across the debris like a pinball, grabbing chunks of stone mid-air and hurling them straight at Maru's head with terrifying force. It's raw, brutal, and incredibly fast. Throughout all of this, Ra will not stop talking. She's laughing, clearly enjoying herself, calling the whole thing fun, comparing it to a roller coaster. Sudugi snaps at her to stop talking, and she immediately fires back, complaining about amusement parks and screaming kids. The contrast is wild. Sudugi is locked in, fighting for his life, while Ra is treating this like entertainment. Maru, meanwhile, is trying to process what he's seeing. He notices Sudugi's appearance, the strange dialogue, the second presence. He starts asking the right questions. Who is that other personality? Where is that power coming from? Then it clicks. It's the ring. Maru realizes that this amount of cursed energy is impossible for one person to naturally contain. Someone with unfathomable power must have poured cursed energy into that ring over the course of years, maybe decades. That ring isn't just an heirloom, it's a battery, a monument to accumulated power. Maru fully locks in. His third eye opens as he attempts to activate his cursed technique in a way we haven't seen before. Sudugi doesn't let him finish. He grabs Maru mid-activation, headbutts him brutally, then follows up with a punch that sends Maru flying across the battlefield. Maru is stunned. His technique didn't work. Sudugi is forcing his way through it with sheer physical power and the cursed energy from the ring, as if Maru's technique barely matters. Sudugi floats down in front of him and apologizes. He says he's going to win, no matter what it takes. Maru doesn't argue. He says he feels the exact same way. The panel shifts, and Maru is now silhouetted. We only see the shadow of his face, with the third eye glowing ominously. Trees, roots, and massive branches erupt around him, forming something closer to a living domain than anything we've seen before. His technique is evolving in real time. They square up, and then the chapter hard cuts. We switch to Dabura versus Mahoraga. Mahoraga is standing atop a skyscraper, aura radiating off him as he looks down at Dabura like prey. The wheel spins again. He's adapted once more. Dabura immediately senses the shift. Mahoraga's demeanor has changed. Something fundamental is different. Dabura fires multiple light beams straight through Mahoraga's chest, impaling him cleanly. For a moment, it looks decisive. Then Mahoraga flexes. The light shatters off his body like glass. Dabura is stunned. Mahoraga doesn't hesitate. He closes the distance instantly, forcing Dabura to barely block the incoming attack. Dabura tries to fire light point blank into Mahoraga's face. Nothing happens. Mahoraga slashes him diagonally across the face, carving deep into him. Dabura barely avoids fatal damage. He realizes it in real time. His cursed technique has been rendered ineffective. Mahoraga continues the assault, pummeling him without pause. Dabura puts it together. Mahoraga didn't just resist his technique, he devoured it. The wheel has stopped spinning. The adaptation is complete. Fear sets in. Dabura starts to wonder if he's going to lose, if he has any way left to fight back. And then we flash back. A younger Dabura and Dura are talking. Dura suggests that Dabura try being friendlier with the Disconti warriors. Dabura misinterprets it, thinking Dura doesn't want to be around him. He gets visibly hurt. Dura reassures him. That's not what he meant. He respects Dabura. In fact, Dabura is the only one he considers a worthy opponent. But he acknowledges how isolated Dabura is, especially given his sister's position. Dabura explains that the Disconti warriors are too proud. If he stood among them, his strength would only create tension. He doesn't want to embarrass them. Back in the present, Dabura is buried in rubble, injured and shaken. He admits something he never has before. He's afraid. Another flashback. Young Dabura admits that he barely has to try to beat others. Their jealousy and rejection hurt him deeply. He's strong, but he doesn't want to fight. Dura laughs. He tells Dabura that he's never actually been in a real fight. That because he's always been stronger, he's never truly become a warrior. Dabura doesn't understand. Dura tells him that someday, someone so strong will appear that Dabura will think he's going to lose. That's when he'll understand. We cut back to the present as Mahoraga kicks Dabura through multiple buildings, then smashes him with a brutal hook. Dabura finally gets it. Fighting because you want to fight isn't real fighting. Fighting because you avoid it isn't either. But fighting because you have to, that's real. He remembers Dura asking him to protect the Romelians. He remembers his sister telling him she believes in him. He thinks of everyone depending on him. Then it happens. Dabura catches Mahoraga's fist mid-strike, and in doing so, he shatters the sword of extermination with his bare hand. He completes the thought. Fighting because you have to is what makes a warrior. Aura explodes off him. He throws Mahoraga away and apologizes, saying he's going to fight for real now. The narrator reminds us that Dabura's techniques are light and void, but his physical body cannot withstand light-speed acceleration. That's why he never used his technique on himself. Until now. If his techniques don't work on Mahoraga, then there's only one option left. Bare hands. Dabura clenches his fist as smoke rises from it. He digs his feet into the ground and resolves to push his body past its limits. He tells Dura that he'll become a warrior, and the narrator drops the final line. By the limits of mankind, Dabura Kuraba rips across the battlefield at sublight speed. End chapter. This chapter was insane. Absolutely insane. If this ever gets animated, it's going to break the internet. Dabura using his light technique on himself is huge. It also reinforces the idea that his light beams were a combination of light and void, which explains how Mahoraga adapted to both. Now that adaptation is complete, Dabura is forced to abandon technique entirely and rely on pure physicality. As for whether his technique could bypass infinity, I still don't think we've seen enough. Infinity functions as a whitelist, not a threat detector, and the examples people bring up don't really apply here. Until we see more, that question remains open. And let's not forget Maru versus Sudugi. Maru is clearly evolving his technique, and Sudugi now has confirmed access to Ra's cursed energy through a legitimate cursed tool. Whether he can access copied techniques is still unknown, especially given his heavenly restriction. There are so many moving pieces right now, and every single one of them is cooking. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching.